Let's say that I've been studying Islam and I believe it to be the truth.
So that means you've been deceived, brother, but may God open your eyes. What's going on?
You want to talk about salvation in either Christianity or Islam, right? That's the topic?
Yeah, do you know much about Islam? How much you've studied Islam to be qualified to talk about it?
I've read the Quran in its entirety and I read it daily, and yeah, I think I have.
Okay, so what does the Quran teach about salvation if you read it daily? How much have you understood it?
Salvation is, from my understanding, totally up to God. In Christianity, you say that belief in Christ is what saves you.
Don't dodge the issue. You want to run to Christianity. You didn't even explain to us what it means totally up to your God, Allah.
Excuse me, Mr. Hogan. You're right.
So explain what it means it's totally up to Allah, because you're going to end up affirming fatalism. This is what I want you to make your point, because I want to see how much you've studied this.
According to my understanding, is everyone on Judgment Day is going to be weighed. Their deeds are going to be weighed. Their good deeds and their evil deeds. And that will determine whether you're saved.
You're incorrect.
Your acts and your faith and your intent with those acts.
You're incorrect, because you skipped the part that I mentioned if you were listening. Have you even read chapter 24, verse 21 of your Quran? Because you said, everyone heard you. You've read it all the way through. You read it daily. That means you're without excuse not to know what 24:21 says of your Quran.
I'm no scholar or imam, sir. But
okay, let me ask you
24 is the chapter of light. And 21 is, I'm not sure exactly what verse that is.
Can I ask you a question? Why is it you come up here to want to then debate, and then when I confront you with a challenge, you go, I'm no scholar. If you're not a scholar, then why are you trying to defend Islam?
Why?
You don't use that excuse. So let's stop the excuse. If you are going to join a call, that means you think you are qualified enough to defend Islam. So don't give that caveat, I'm not a scholar, when your religion gets decimated. Because I'm not a scholar, he's not a scholar. We don't use that as an excuse. But now we're going to show you 24:21 and see that you actually missed the point.
It says, O ye who believe, follow not the footsteps of the devil, unto whomsoever follows the footsteps of the devil, lo, he commands the filthiness and wrong. Had it not been for the grace of Allah and his mercy unto you, not one of you would ever have grown pure. But Allah causeth whom he wills to grow. And Allah is hearer and knower.
Explain to me, in the context of the Quran, what does it mean, had it not been for the grace of Allah and his mercy unto you, not one of you would ever have grown pure, but Allah causeth whom he will to grow. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, it means that God alone is the one who decides who enters heaven, who becomes pure.
And how does he do that? Because you just affirmed Islamic predestination, which you didn't want to mention in the beginning. How does he decide? What's the basis?
The basis is... the basis of his decision would be the soundness of the heart when somebody somebody stands before God on Judgment Day.
No, you're wrong. It's based on predestination, qadr, taqdeer. Do you know what qadr and taqdeer are?
I do not.
Do you know what taqdeer is?
No, sir.
It's the sixth article of faith according to Sunni Islam. It's the belief of predestination. So you're mistaken again, and I just gave Avery my article. The Quran and the Sunnah teaches that Allah has already determined beforehand whom he will create to go to paradise and whom he will create to go to hell. This is Sunni Islam. So you're mistaken. Now, if you have the article, you can open it so he doesn't think I'm exaggerating. So either you don't know this or you knew this. So did you know this? Did you know this is what Islam teaches or no? You go to
You're saying there's no such thing as predestination.
You want to bet? It's right in front of your eyes. It's according to the Quran and Sunnah. Why are you there to speak? Do you know the Arabic language?
I've only memorized the shortest chapters of the Quran, and I recite them every once in a while.
Okay, so how dare you say there is no such thing as predestination when the terms are used?
That's not what, sir, that's not what I said. I said, I had said that, excuse me, I'm a little nervous. It's the first time actually discussing things. I don't want to be, it's not about right or wrong for me. It's about, let me, if I could finish, like, I believe that God reveals himself to each individual differently depending on the purity of their heart. You know, like I don't believe that I chose Islam. I believe God chose Islam for me.
But that's predestination.
He chose Christianity for you and your friend, God Logic, like, you know, based on his wisdom and knowledge that only he knows about you, who you are, and what you want out of life.
But wait, so you knew this? Because you just admit you knew about Islamic predestination. Because notice what you just said. I want everyone to hear this. I'm glad they're hearing this. You just admit Allah decides I become Christian, you become Muslim, right? I know you're busy at work.
Try to hit us up when you're done, all right?
I just wanted to say that this is a pure proof that our prophet is just a human and not a god. So he cannot play the god, say that people can go to heaven or save them from punishment. God is the ultimate judge.
So I want to ask you this, and Sam, I'm gonna let you take over. I just have one
Yeah, go ahead.
question though,
I'm telling you.
a little nudge here. So, hey, you're saying that the one who can tell people where they're going to heaven or hell, and who decides who's going to heaven and hell, that shows that that person is God. That's something that only God can do.
Only God can do that. But if Jesus or a prophet or every prophet, wait, can I make my?
I'm interested in the switch.
If a prophet, any prophet, gets a revelation that someone go to heaven or hell, yes, then he can say you are forgiven or you go to hell or heaven.
But according to your Quran, Allah gave
Yes.
Muhammad the revelation his past and future sins already forgiven. Why is he still uncertain?
Because he's a human, and
You didn't hear me. Wait. You said only way that a prophet can know is if Allah revealed to him he's going to receive
yes,
salvation.
of course, because
I just showed you, Allah said to Muhammad, your past and future sins are forgiven. So he was already told that. So why is he still afraid?
yes, because he's a good man, and listen, I'm gonna say to you, a very good Muslim. I know very good Muslims. They don't do anything bad, nothing bad, and still they are afraid to go to hell.
Yeah, but that's because your prophet scared them because they saw your prophet.
No.
They're afraid. But hold
Because
on.
they are good people.
Can I
In
make
my
another
opinion.
Abdel.
Yeah.
Let me make another. But according to you, then, Jesus is better than your prophet because in chapter 1933, Isa from the cradle as an infant said, peace be upon me the day I was born, the day I shall die, the day I shall be raised. So he was assured he would be in a state of peace and salam, even as a baby when he spoke miraculously, chapter 1933. So even in your Quran, Isa, who you think is just a man, is better than your prophet because he had assurance. He's in a state of peace and had nothing to fear.
Isa alayhi salam was also very humble and very God-fearing.
That's not answering my
Because
question.
yes.
You didn't answer my question. The humble Jesus still knew he's in a state of peace and he had nothing to fear because the humble Jesus whom Allah sent said in chapter 1933, peace be upon me the day I was born, the day I will die, the day I shall be raised alive. So here's the humble Jesus whom you think is just a slave of Allah who has assurance that he has nothing to fear. And that's stated also in chapter 45.
Didn't Jesus sweat blood?
Abdel,
Yeah?
you gotta let him finish, please.
And in chapter 3, verse 45, the angels tell Mary that Jesus is one of those nearest to Allah. So Jesus, Isa, was guaranteed from the time of his mother's womb till he left the earth, you are nearest to Allah and you will be illustrious in the hereafter, that in the hereafter you will be exalted, illustrious, nearest to Allah, and you have nothing to fear. But your prophet had no assurance.
Our prophet had also the insurance, but I believe our prophet, the last prophet, alayhi salam, of sallallahu alayhi salam, is the best prophet of all the prophets, and
Did you
he's
hear
the
it,
best.
guys?
Of course, he's better than Jesus.
You hear it?
But we cannot compare our prophets with each other.
You just did.
I believe that he's the best. He's the best prophet because
So he's better than Jesus?
because he came for all humanity, and Jesus
Don't
came
change the
only for
subject,
the
no.
last
Your
house
Quran
of
said-
Israel.
The Quran says Jesus came for all humanity, chapter 19, 21, 21, 91. Don't change the topic. I just want everyone to hear it. Muhammad, who couldn't carry Jesus' sandals and lick them, is better than Jesus. You heard it, right? You heard what he said. So if he's better than Jesus, why in your Quran, Jesus is given assurance, nothing to fear, but your prophet is afraid and was humiliated.
He's afraid, but he also gets the insurance to go to paradise.
So much so that when he died a shameful, disgraceful death, making him look very foolish and evil aside from the unbeliever. Yeah, I know. It's okay. So you have nothing really to say. So I don't know what to tell you.
But I just had one question. Is the God of the Old Testament the same as the God of the New Testament?
Well,
I just
according to
had a
the
question.
Quran, well, no, don't change the subject. According to the Quran, your Allah is the God of the Old Testament, and your Allah ordered Moses and Joshua and Saul to wipe out everything that breathes. That's Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 246 to 252. Surah Al-Ma'idah 5, 20, 27. So it was your Allah that told them to wipe out everything that breathes because you want to change the subject. So now, since you couldn't defend your prophet, can you go back and kiss the black stone and ask the black stone to intercede for you on the day of judgment? Auzu billahi Muhammad rajim. That you guys don't know. I know where he's going. So he wants to change the subject.